Hello, good evening, welcome to my channel. So I've started working before I decided to record, but right at the beginning, so it's okay. Here we have a cake that is 16-inch wide long by 12-inch, so a rectangle, and it's 5.5-inch tall. So fondant work today, fondant work. As I always say, we start clean hands, but of course I've started kneading. There's icing sugar, so that's going to be all over my hands as I work. And when we wash our hands, we don't just wash our palm, you need to wash all around your wrist. So here we go. This is fondant, which I think I would say is a cousin of royal icing. That's it. You know, when they used the royal icing, the paneling of old, my mom used to make those years ago when I was little. So this is fondant. Fondant is softer, more pliable, and even after it dries, it's still slightly malleable compared to royal icing that sets stiff and solid. So this goes all over. My aim, this is about 3.5 kilos of fondant, is to use. I might have to do this twice the way I'm looking at it. Left the rolling pin. So in the UK, fondant is readily available. I prefer this brand right there. Different people use different things. Renshaw is a very nice brand, so when I want to buy little colored packs, I go for Renshaw. Sometimes with this brand I actually use sugar paste as well. That's really nice as well. Not easy to roll out. If you see bakers with thick arms, when I say thick, I mean quite muscly arms, is because of fondant. This is a workout, especially when you're dealing with large amounts. So you roll this out to be way bigger than your cake. So there's my cake right there. My intention is to roll this the width and length of my mat. Can you see? So there's a mat on here. You can roll directly on your kitchen surface as long as it's washed and disinfected. A lot of the time I will use a mat. This is quite big or wide, so it goes, you know, you need to work with it from different angles to make sure that it's the width that you want. It is quite warm, even though it is 4 minutes to 11 at at night. And most people don't eat this. It's just for decorative purposes. If it's too thin, it's going to give you issues. But you don't want it to be like a thick layer on there. Most people don't eat it. Kids love it. If I remember correctly, it is made from icing sugar, gum track. So is it GMC? It's called gum track. And glucose. Those are the main ingredients in there, and water sometimes, but not a lot. So I believe there are other rolling pins out there. I've had this for such a long time and I love it, and this is the only thing I do with it, just this work. So let's have a look. So this is me trying to use my rolling pin to make sure that I've got the, oh, that's nice. So it's the length, exact length of my rolling pin, and you need to account for your sides, yeah? So you've got 5 there, or just over 5, it was 5.5 when I measured it. And then you've got the length of that. So, but it's, when you pick it up, it's going to stretch a bit. So, right, here we go. I haven't covered a cake in fondant in a few weeks because most of my cakes have been buttercream. Okay, that went on way better than I thought it would. So, like I said, it's very pliable. Think Play-Doh. And you begin to stretch. Not just stretch, you begin to work it so that it fits snugly and it becomes the shape of your cake. Like I said earlier, it is, okay, I can see a tiny tear somewhere, but that's okay. You continue to smooth this with your hands just for it to get okay. There's a little tear there, but that's okay. This is just, don't worry, I've got a little bin down there. You cover. Another way of covering this is paneling. I don't use that a lot. So you cut that rectangle, and you bring it all together on the cake. You roll it out. You might have seen people doing that. I do that, but not very often. I am a all-in-one girly. I've always been. So this is my preferred method of covering my cake, is all-in-one. I have got a tear there and I think I'm making it worse, but because my fondant, because of decorations that's also going to go on the cake, it will be fine. So these are called smoothers. I'm just going to put some icing sugar on there. When the weather is really hot and your fondant gets sticky, it's a nightmare to work with. So we are going to start. So there's so many ways of doing this corner, but I'm not going for a sharp corner. So we're going to start by squeezing that corner. You literally, can you see? You literally squeeze both corners together and it gives you an edge. So smoothers. I think I need to bring this closer to you guys. Let me move my mat a little bit. Right, okay. So all I did was try to bring that closer to you. If you want corners, this is what you're going to start to do. You will start to use both sides to shape on. And this is why square rectangular cakes, one, they're slightly bigger than circles, two, they take longer to work because of the corners. So if you see cake makers that don't want to make squares, I mean, they're nice. I think they look really nice. Can you see the difference with the edges? Just remember, sugar, Play-Doh, you're molding it to do what you want. So if you can see, and if you see the way that looks round, and that's beginning to look slightly sharp. And we are going to do that. So like I said, I can see that, but don't worry about it. I don't know if you can see in the video, but I can see it. Don't worry too much about it. So we work our corners the same way. With the corners, go like you're going to go over the cake to the other side. And then you do the other side as well. That way your edges are pointy. So if you have any excess craft knife, use your smoother. Make sure that that lip, you hold it up and then you just cut. And you take that right off and you lose your clean edge. I'm just gonna bring this closer to us so you can see what I'm talking about. So can you see? So on the edge you have that which looks like a line, and then on this side you have that which is rounded still. So we're going to keep working the edge till we're done. So you literally, this is what you're doing. You're bringing two corners and rolling them together, and it takes the shape of that line right there. So you just roll the edges together with your icing. See, you can use that to take it off, and you can use the knife to take it off as well. The middle of my square cakes always seem higher. That's because I don't like trimming my cakes too much. I want to give my customer as much of the cake as I can, even though I know that I could level that a bit more. However, there's going to be their poster. It's for a church anniversary. There's going to be their poster in the middle and a bit of decoration, so you won't really notice that too much. But of course, if you're making tiered cakes, you need it to be completely flat so that your next tier can sit on top of it. So with a bit of knowing what you're doing and what style of cake you're making, you can you know whether you need to take more off or you don't, depending on what you're doing. So if your fondant is absolutely clean, that's the back of it, you can use it again. If there's any crumbs whatsoever, unfortunately you will not be able to use it, because you're just going to be moving crumbs from one cake to the other, and it's not going to give you a clean finish anyway. So I am going to keep doing all our corners, and then I shall resume when we're done. So both 1, 2 flat edge and flat edge against each other like that. So you pick that up, and if you have any excess you can cut. So just bring it in, and it gives you that, can you see, straight line. If there's any lip that you don't like, put that against that and you just cut it off. So can you see that? That's what I'm doing. If you want a rounded edge, you don't need all of this, but this looks a little bit nicer by modern day standards. Not that there's anything wrong if you just cover your cake like that on its own. Make sure the sides can see that smooth finish. I can see a little bit of dents there. Just rub it. And this is what we have left from our, actually each of my pack of fondant is 2.5 kilos. So I use the full one and then half of another one. So I would say about 3.2 kilos of fondant that is there. Let's see if I can lift that. Okay, so that's heavier than what it was before. Of course it is, because we've added another 3 kilos to whatever that was. So now we're going to add our decorations to the side. So all the edges of the cake where they join, we're going to decorate it. I mean, there are cakes that are cleanly left, but obviously for any occasion, this is your blank canvas, and now you do with it what you will, or as you please. This is going to be, I won't say simple, because it's church, you don't want to go all funny on it or all over extravagant on it. So this is going to be white and gold. We have a bit of burgundy in the anniversary colors. I will see if I want to introduce burgundy. I'm just gonna go as my spirit direct. That's what happens. If there's no design picked, I go as my spirit leads, as what I see fits as I'm making and decorating the cake. So we're gonna start. I've got a mold that I want to use. So find your front. I had a front in mind earlier, but I think I've changed my mind. I think this is going to be my front. So this is the plaque. I've already got that ready, but before we do that, I'm going to splash my gold on it. So when I say splash, I mean a little splash. I don't think it's as okay. It's dry enough to do what I want it to do. So I know it's looking all like, what's she doing? So that's my tier that I mentioned earlier, but that's going to be covered. This is edible gold. Please make sure if you're putting something on your cake, it is edible. You can use non-edible toppers if you want. That way they can remove it. But if it's something that is going to stay, you want to make sure that it is edible. Okay, now I'm getting my things behind all dirty. I don't actually think I'm splashing the cake. I think I'm splashing the board. Yeah. So one of the downside of cake decorating is there's so much cleaning that happens before and after. And some bakers will literally tell you cleaning is the worst part of the job. Okay, so our plaque, this is going to be my front, I believe. Our plaque for the anniversary. Find your middle. Sometimes you can see, you don't need to measure, and I'm doing this in the middle because this is bigger. Okay. The beauty of this is that you can always move it if you're not happy. It's centered, but I wanted the space in between to be equal. There you go. That print is edible. That wafer paper can be eaten. So, 4. So now we're going to start making our molds to go around the edge. There are different molds for different things. They're almost anything. You can pipe, but I don't want to pipe, even though that would be quicker for me to actually get royal icing and just pipe around. But I wanted to make something more decorative. So that goes in. You make sure that it is in and you get off any excess. This is going to take a while because if you think of how much is needed to cover all of that, make sure that it's snug in there. So your cakes are not just expensive because the baker's expensive. If you work per hour, how much would you like to be paid? So it's not just about your ingredients, the time, the experience, the washing up, making sure the environment is clean before and after. All of that, somebody's got to pay for it. um, and there is nothing like handmade cakes compared to supermarkets. You just can't get the same value. That's what that is. So that's what we're going to have going all the way like that round. So we're going to be here for a while. I shall be back in a bit. So I decided to use my other mold for the border, the bottom border, because I like it. It looks like a table, and it's underskirt. You know, the when you decorate a table, it looks like the end of it. So you see that. All this is just water. This is the thing with fondant. This is just water that I'm using to stick the cake with. That's not too big officially. That's perfect. Okay. So you just keep going. You can definitely royal icing to hold your decorations. That way you're actually certain that they're not going to come off. But I am sure that this isn't going to come off, because when you do your decoration, when the fondant to fondant is still wet, fresh, not wet, fresh, then you know that they will stick together. But if it's been a while, then you want to make sure that you use something that will make it stick. So I'm going to put more on there. I don't know, it just gives me, when I saw it, I didn't think of it before, but now, as soon as I saw it, I put two of the other one, and then I saw this, and I feel like it's giving the vibes of the Lord's table, you know, for communion. I don't know, that just popped into my head. I might be wrong, but that's what I'm getting from it. So in my mind, it works perfectly. And you just join. So what I'm doing here is, that one's smaller and I need one that is slightly longer, so I'm just going to cut what I need and add it to it. Perfect, actually perfect fit. So that's the edge done. Around the bottom, the edge done. If you're worried that maybe one side looks like it's not equal, which can happen, use your ruler just to straighten it out. It will. This is the thing, when you're working fresh, things are pliable, malleable, and you just straighten that out if you think that something's not straight. Just straighten it out. So I still want, I like this, but I don't want to use it in all of it, so I'm just going to put it a bit, just, you know, in between, around, not on every single. So I'm not going to add that to go all the way around. Just put that there, and then I'm going to add it like just around, but not like that. So maybe 4 or 5 on each side, and your cake is becoming more decorative. So we're gonna put, yeah, I think 5. I'm gonna put one there. You can absolutely measure what you're adding, just so that you've got enough space in between. And if there's anything that you feel you've added too much water, just dab it and get it off. So I will add one. So we'll do that round just like that, and I'll come back. Right, finally finished. Okay, it's not turning in one swirl on the turntable because it's so heavy. So this is our cake. There we go. There we go. So that's what the cake looks like. But I know it's been a long video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.